Hey friends, this is Ian Khan at HIMSS 25 talking to innovators, leaders, change makers at HIMSS. I've got with me Neil, who has an incredible company that has something to do with these two fish right here. I'm going to get Neil to introduce himself. Neil, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Neil Schappert. I'm founder, CEO of Pilot Fish, and that's what these represent. Some people might call them clownfish, but they're not. They're pilot fish.
They're very specific. As a founder, I have a founder question for you. You know, when you started Pilot Fish, what challenge did you see that prompted you to think, hey, I need to do this, and we need to create an organization that does something very specific?
We from our founding have been doing integration. And actually the company, when I started it, we were focused on the insurance industry. And when I say that, not the health insurance industry. Insurance, property and casualty, life and annuity. I had a background, I had experience in that area. And initially, this goes back, we're 24 years that we've been in this business. And our first application was web-based new business processing. And so in order to do new business processing underwriting, you have to go out to the Medical Information Bureau, you have to have parameds done, you have to get motor vehicle reports, all of which at that time were not terribly well automated. They did not have the real-time integration capability between us, so we were building this web-based application, and very early on, I mean within 6 months, we realized that it wasn't as much the application as it was the integration, and that if we could take that integration and create some reusable components, that we could facilitate, I say, real-time underwriting, better, faster, cheaper, to be able to do those policies. So to fast forward, what ended up happening is through that underwriting process, doing that integration, there were companies in the healthcare industry, specifically laboratories, that got a look at our software, which we had built up over time, and said, that's way better than anything that anybody offers in the healthcare industry. And you guys are crazy if you don't get into that market. So over a dozen years ago, we moved into the healthcare side. And like I say, we've been focused on enabling real-time batch integration between healthcare providers, payer, revenue cycle management, laboratories. We integrate devices, equipment, applications throughout the healthcare industry.
Yeah, so a true innovator who saw an opportunity, obviously, of improving something back in the day, 20, 24 years ago, and that's really very innovative. I mean, I can remember that 20, 24 years ago, things were very different. Everybody was just making websites, leave alone automating workflows and whatnot. When and you've spent a lot of time in the industry now, you know the ins and outs of the healthcare industry, how insurance companies work with healthcare providers, work with all the other incumbents. What is a problem that's dragging everybody in terms of inefficiencies? Is it interoperability? Is it everybody sitting on siloed data? Is it people are not sharing things properly? Like, what is it that's bogging down industry right now?
Yeah, it's a mixture of things. I mean, there's still a lot of legacy applications are out there. The healthcare providers themselves, most of them are not innovators, or if they're innovators, it's not on the technology side of the business. So they're innovating how they provide healthcare, but absent. And I think that's changing, and it's changing very rapidly. Other issues you have is some of the biggest players candidly don't play well with others, and so it's not a technological challenge at this point, at least not for us. But they're not. I don't want to say that they don't collaborate very well in terms of, hey, how do we work with any number of different vendors?
Yeah.
So they do. It's not quite silo, but it's kind of, this is our market, it's our share, and we don't want to play well with others because we do that too, and so
there's a hesitation. They cannot, I guess, foresee the advantages of doing that and kind of collaborating. One of the things that I'm thinking about now is that because there's a big apparent wave of automation, technology, AI, data-led future, all of these things are great. Do you think in the future, in the next 2, 5, 7, 10 years, these organizations will have no choice but to be able to offer their data to not a vendor, but to a community where this data is exchanged, of course, it's federated or what have you, but they're mandated to share this data because otherwise care will not reach the people that they're trying to reach. And what I'm trying to say is that is technology pushing things in a way where there will be no choice? You can't just sit on your data and say, I'm not going to share it. How do you foresee that coming down since you've seen the evolution of it like 20 years ago?
Yeah.
What do you see 20 years out?
It's a very interesting question. Of course, I have an opinion, but some of that is already happening. If you look at AI, the large language models, people unknowingly are already providing that information, and it's out there. And so there's that's not the dark web, but they don't realize they're doing it. And I go back, I do an analogy with Facebook. So Facebook comes out and everybody says, oh yeah, here's my name, my address, my birth date, here are my kids' pictures, here's my dog, and here's when I'm on vacation. And what does that tell anybody that's on Facebook? It tells you exactly when they can come rob your house. Right?
Absolutely.
And so that, in my opinion, is already happening. You have all this AI, people are providing information, whether you're doing a contract, you're doing a report, you're going out, and it's providing enormous value. Yeah. It's speeding things up incredibly, providing tremendous information, but you're giving up that private, and they're already doing it. Now, companies are already reacting, and they're saying, well, and they'll ask us as an integration provider, are you using any of these, AI, LLMs? And, our answer is, you don't have to. It's not part of our product. You can, and it's up to you to decide, do you want to use it or not? Because it plugs right into our pipeline, plugs right into the pipeline. But the only way you can access it is if, you approve it from a security standpoint. That's their responsibility, but I can tell you that right now they're not. And we'll see what happens. Yeah, of course. Over time.
No, absolutely. I mean, what I see happen in the industry is that, of course, there are waves of innovation. There's waves of change. 10 years ago, maybe it was cloud. Then it was big data. Then it was, then it was blockchain, right? Now, last year was generative AI. This year is agentic AI. Next year, who knows what it'll be. Yeah, right. So these waves come and go. But I think there's also genuine transformation that happens. Yes, among the 100 things that AI is promising, maybe only one is being implemented right now in the healthcare industry. But I think tomorrow, maybe 2 will be there, 3 will be there. So the focus that the vendor base has on AI is amazing, but I think there's a lot more to it. And the fact that you guys kind of started with, the back end automation, the back end workflow within the healthcare industry is so important for the efficiency of the system. You can't do without it.
You're very insightful, and that's what we provide. So we have this framework, we have this process. Data comes in, operations get performed over the data. The data, goes out, goes somewhere else, and we're able to plug into any of these AI programs. It could be taking unstructured data, making it semi-structured, structured, but it's also going out and drawing conclusions from the data that you have. So it's providing kind of an analysis. I'd
course.
argue it's not critical thinking, but
Yeah.
you know, it's pattern recognition that it does. It's very useful in things like diagnosis and that. But what we provide is that framework. In the meantime, all of these, they say these AI engines, these LLMs, they're popping up like mushrooms.
Yeah.
And we've already changed in a month. We've like, oh, have you tried this one? Oh, there's an even better one. Oh, did you see this one? And so that's, you know, but what's not changing is the fundamental framework.
Correct.
That allows data to come in,
Yeah.
all these things to happen before it goes out, you know, with all these different, like I say, it could be
Absolutely.
structured data into a database. It could be a diagnosis. It could be, you know, interpretation.
Of course. I think the role of the CIO is challenging enough. They work with a lot of red tape, a lot of low funding, a lot of other issues generally within the healthcare system. But I think there's an opportunity for them to think about not just AI, you know, which is making a lot of noise, but also the fundamental things that can drive efficiency in their healthcare system, and focus on that by consulting with people, experts, companies that provide that expertise. Parting question: what is your advice to the CIOs or whoever is part of this journey of creating efficiency in the healthcare system? What are you telling them as of right now, as of HIMSS 25?
In terms of
Your advice, what should they focus on right away, right now?
they need to focus on being agile.
Okay.
It's like if you were a skier and you were skiing down a hill that you'd never been down before, keep your knees bent, keep your skis pointed downhill, and ski as fast as you can, because you know it's just happening so fast and furious that it's very difficult to plan. You know, you can't plan a downhill race on a mountain you've never been on before. Of course, you can just plan how you're going to deal with it. So that's what I would say.
Incredible. Neil, thank you so much for joining us. Loved having this conversation with you. Very insightful. And check out these fish, pilotfish.com. And thank you. Thanks a lot, Neil, for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you. That was great. Can I borrow?